Chapter 7. The Encounter. While he hesitated to come closer, memories of the past pierced her mind in silent cruelty, without warning. Should she throw herself into his arms, pretend that everything he had done never happened, forget the nights that left behind nothing but exhaustion and emptiness? Or should she restrain feelings that had never given her anything but misery, melancholy, and breaking? She wondered, without speaking. Had he ever loved her in return? Was what they shared ever love at all, or merely an illusion she clung to alone? That question lingered in her mind. Yet, strangely, it was not what hurt her most. It wasn't the details. It wasn't the looks. It wasn't even the physical memories she had tried to bury. The narcissus, the violet, the chrysanthemum, and all those flowers surrounding her now. Silent messages whispering, "I missed you," or "We never parted." She did not care. She never cared after that day. The day she learned that some feelings, no matter how beautiful they appear, do not mean safety, and that longing is never enough to forgive everything. At last, the silence was broken. Not sharply, but with a soft fracture, as though the words escaped him against his will. He spoke with unintentional nervousness, a tension he tried to hide and failed. Your journey was long." He paused for a moment, as if his thoughts were ahead of his tongue, or as if memories had weighed down his voice. Then he continued, more quietly, "I hope it was not difficult for you." The sentence felt incomplete, unfinished, as though it did not carry what he truly meant to say. He hesitated again, then added, more unsettled than he wished to appear, "I mean..." Silence returned, brief, yet heavy, filled with everything left unsaid. Then he slowly gestured with his hand toward the luxurious table at the center of the garden, as if the movement were a request, rather than an order, as if approaching her, still required a permission he had not yet been granted. "Please, have a seat." The table stood, surrounded by flowers on every side, calm and unmoving, unlike the unrest in his chest, or the uncertainty that slipped quietly into her heart. And within that short distance between them, everything remained suspended. The past, the caution, and whatever feelings had yet to find their fate. She sat down hesitantly, a slow, measured movement, as if she feared even the simplest of her actions could be misunderstood. He, meanwhile, remained standing, steady in place, as if his feet had not yet received permission to move. For a moment, she wished that the table allowed for more distance between them. A safe, comfortable distance, one that would not force her to feel his closeness so intensely. But it did not grant her that. He was closer than she wanted, closer than her restless heart could bear. She noticed he intended to pull the chair out for her. A small, delayed gesture, but she did not give him the time. She sat before he could, as if setting an unspoken limit on any kindness that might open a door she did not wish to enter. He then moved, and without a word, sat across from her. Time had passed since their meeting, time enough for much to be said. Yet nothing was spoken. There was no proper conversation between them, no words worthy of their past, nor of what had once existed between them, nor even of the feelings she thought had died, yet still found their way to her heart. They sat there, face to face, sharing the silence more than any words they had ever shared. And the silence was heavier than any confetti. But suddenly, he said it with hesitation, like someone choosing his words with excessive care, afraid of making another mistake. "This color, it suits you." Then he drew back slightly, as if realizing the sentence had come out closer than it should have, and added, with less confidence, "I mean, your dress. It's beautiful." The compliment was not refined, nor polished as one would expect from an emperor. It was simple, sincere, almost too exposed, more than he had intended. Emma looked down at herself, at her dark blue dress, a shade that had once been deep and pure, before being marked by dust and the traces of a long journey. Her gaze lingered, as if she was seeing it through his eyes rather than her own. How strange it felt for something so simple, so visibly worn, to be praised in a place overflowing with luxury and excess. She finally lifted her head and said, with a soft stammer, almost like an unintended confession, "Thank you." She paused, then added, in a voice carrying more honesty than she meant to reveal, "This is the most beautiful thing I own." She did not mean the dress alone, but she did not explain, and she did not try to. Between her uneasy gaze and his sudden silence, the words remained suspended, heavy with poverty, with dignity, and with a distance that still existed, between two worlds that did not resemble one another. Chapter 8. This is the most beautiful thing I own. I mean, I don't know why I was invited here, nor what was expected of me in the first place, but I wanted just once to be at my best. The words left my mouth without confidence, stumbling, as if they did not believe themselves as they were spoken. How could I say that? What beauty was I talking about? What appearance? Even I did not believe myself. I looked at what I had become, and saw the truth as it was, without mercy. Time had toyed with me, to the point of pity. My face was pale, as if life had quietly withdrawn from it and never returned. My hands, rough, carrying the marks of labor and exhaustion more than any trace of softness. And my body, thinner than it should be, so thin that whatever remained of my former beauty was no longer visible, as if it were a distant memory with no proof left behind. I wondered inwardly, is this what he saw? Is this what I stood before him as now? A woman with nothing left but a tired attempt to appear fine, in a place that does not forgive weakness, and recognizes only what shines. I was not seeking admiration, nor pity. I was only trying not to disappear completely. But he did not notice any of it. He did not see her pallor, nor the roughness of her hands, nor what time had done to her. His eyes were on her alone, steady, deep, as if they were trying to pierce through her words and reach what had never been said. One question circled his mind, clear and painful, yet he was unable to give it a voice. Was there still hope? To him, she was still her, the same woman, for whom he would have done anything to protect, to stand against the world if he had to. But he no longer had the courage. Not the courage to come closer, nor to confess, nor even to admit what had never truly died within him. Then, the silence broke, not sharply, but with a soft fracture, as if the words escaped him against his will. "I wanted to see you. I mean, I missed you." He said it with a strange, unsettling eloquence, as though it were not merely a sentence, but a forbidden declaration, something he had no right to say. The words came out steady, unlike him, and carried enough weight to change the air between them. She replied with a deliberate hesitation, the kind imposed by the place, the title, and the truth that could not be ignored. She was now in the presence of a king, not before an ordinary man. So her voice came out calm, more restrained than she felt, as if she were gathering herself before speaking. "And why?" She said it not as an accusation, but as a question heavy with meaning. Why? After all this time? She did not raise her voice, nor did she reveal the turmoil within her, yet the words carried enough astonishment and quiet refusal. "How did you remember me?" She was not asking about memory alone, but about the reason, the moment, the impulse that made him speak her name after all those years. She knew the question, in its apparent simplicity, might be more dangerous than any reproach, because it did not ask for an explanation, but demanded the truth. He spoke with a surprise that did not suit him, a surprise that came out of him unusually, as if the question had struck a place he had never expected. "What do you mean, Emma?" His voice was not sharp, nor defensive, but more uncertain than one would expect from a man in his position. He paused for a moment, as if the next words were heavier than he imagined, then continued with clear hesitation. Have I? No longer deserved even to. The sentence broke off, before it could be completed, as if the confession had stumbled in his throat. To miss you, he said it at last, not as a full question, but as half a confession, and half fear. Have I? The last word faded, its meaning hanging between them. He was not asking about his right alone, but about his place in her memory, about whether what remained for him even allowed him the longing. And for the first time, the king appeared closer to a man, afraid he might have already waited too long to be forgiven.